Hello, Marietta back with another video. Y'all know what? I don't know what is expected to happen here when we think about so many people being displaced from their homes and so many people that are trying to find a home that are actually getting evicted due to the high cost of the rent, getting to a place where they cannot afford to even rent a place. I mean, I was talking to one of my girlfriends back home. I told y'all I'm in South Carolina, but I live in Dover, Delaware. And I was talking to one of my girlfriends back home where she was telling me that her daughter was trying to rent a place and she's been trying to rent a place for quite a while, but the rent is just out of reach. The housing crisis is just pure D getting out of control to the point where it's going to be so many people, I hate to say it, that are going to be in the street homeless that cannot find no place to go, can't find no place to rent. The shelters are entirely full and crowded, and people are starting to panic. They're really starting to panic. They're going through within their body by getting sick and being sick from being outdoors and being stressed out, and they just don't know which way to turn. The housing market is really getting to a place where I don't know where they expect people to live or how they expect people to live. And when you've got children, you cannot take children and just stick them in a car and that's where you plan to be. And winter's coming in. How will you keep them warm? I mean, everybody's not made for that type of living. I mean, when you start running a car and you've fallen asleep in a car, you leave yourself open for films to come up inside that car that possibly could unalive you and your children. So you got to be careful while you're out there trying to live this type of life and trying to live this type of way. I mean, it's just so sad that there's no place for people that are working. I mean, these are working people we're talking about. There are some people out there that are working with their whole families that are outdoors, and there's no place for them to go, no place for them to live. And I'm afraid that as we go through these trying times, by the end of the year, coming into the first of the year, it's going to be so much of this happening that it's going to be terrible. If they think they're overpopulated outdoors now with people trying to live in their cars with nowhere to go, and then they're afraid to sleep in there because they're afraid of, getting that knock and have to move and have to go to jail and things of that nature. But when you're talking about single mothers that are out there that don't have the money, don't have the resources to be able to afford to live in housing that is way unaffordable. There's nothing out there but unaffordable housing. And then what do you tell a young girl that's crying with her kids and you don't have no place, she don't have no place to go, no family that would take her in? A lot of times the sad part about it is the families have been separated so long to the point where they're not willing to open their doors up to even share their space with their own family. There could be a lot of reasons why. Now, we understand that there could be some reasons why these people are not connecting with each other and not willing to live with each other and not willing to let nobody into their home. Maybe it could be a lot of reasons why. But yet and still, we're going through these trying times and these children are going to need some place to go. And when you think about the fact of how many landlords are out there with places that are empty, that are sitting empty, but they rather have them empty than have somebody in them because they're afraid to put people in them because they're afraid of their places being tore up. And I get that, I understand that. But we got so many people that are looking for places to go that cannot afford to pay 2 and 3 times the amount of rent or to come out of their pocket with $2,000 and $3,000 while we're going through this and the price of food being high. See, it's not just the rent that's causing the problem. It's the rent plus the cost of food plus the cost of the electric bill. Everything is expensive right now. Everything is expensive. Americans are getting priced out of their own country. They're getting priced out. I mean, you're still thinking in your mind that you're in a place where you can go get that $400 or $500 a month apartment or that $700-800 a month apartment. Those days are long gone, and I do not foresee them coming back no time soon. So I'm thinking to myself, we need to be on these lines sounding the alarm that if and so you're in a place where you have to leave that place, where they plan to sell that place or they get ready to renovate that place, or whatever reason they're telling you that you have to leave that place, it's time to start looking for a place now. It's getting ready to be winter time out these doors. I mean, and it gets cold. And a lot of people even said, even in the South, that it didn't get cold, so they tell me, but it gets cold down here as well. And we're being left to fend for ourselves, and you're going to have to put yourself in a position where you don't have to worry about where you're going to lay your head once it gets really cold out that door, especially if you got kids. The housing crisis is just one thing that's going to be ongoing. It's going to be ongoing for quite a while. And it's a shame to say it, but I can see there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be left outside, not knowing where they're going to go, not knowing how they're going to fend for themselves, not knowing how they're going to take care of themselves. And it is going to be entirely too cold to be out there laying on the ground and being able to figure out how you're going to sleep in a tent, especially when you got kids outdoors. So it's time for you to be able to humble yourself and be able to get along with somebody. You have to team up with somebody, because this thing is getting to be really ridiculous and getting to be very dangerous outside for a lot of people. And as these months go on and this housing crisis continues, first of all, we're not used to seeing this type of thing right here, where we're not standing up for each other to be able to look for a place, and American people are not able to even go inside of a building to be able to sleep and rest their feet and to lay their head. We are built to live inside a house, indoors. We're not built to be living outdoors. We're not supposed to be outdoors like that, in the elements like that. People will get sick too early. People will leave this life too early. People will get sicknesses in their bones. The coldness will run straight through you, and if you ain't prepared for that, then that is not where you need to be. And my heart just goes out to anybody that's out there right now dealing with this situation. But in the same respect, the housing crisis is really getting bad, y'all. It's really getting bad. Anytime you can sit here and you can have a phone call come through and you just talking on the phone, just merely talking on the phone, and you can hear the cry in somebody's voice about the fact that the housing market everywhere is getting to the point where there's limited housing for human beings to live at. Human beings, even a dog got a dog house. And you mean to tell me there's no places for the human beings to lay their head? Where are the humans supposed to go in this time and in this season and in this hour when it's getting late and the winter is getting ready to come in and it's getting ready to get cold? This is the time that people are supposed to come out of the cold and supposed to come indoors, not be headed outdoors, not being evicted, not being put outdoors and have their belongings put on the side of the road and the kids no bed to sleep in, and people that have jobs that are working, honest, upstanding, upright citizens trying to figure out how they're going to make it, how they're going to support and take care of their family. This is why I say that if it's two of you, you're better together. It's better you stay together and try to work this thing out together, because it's harder out there if it's just one person trying to fend for themselves and trying to take care of themselves. It's too much for one person to do. It always is better if you got somebody working with you and somebody to help you and somebody to share the cost of things with you. So the housing crisis is not getting any better. It's not getting any better. These evictions, you see it all day long. You may hear it from people you know. You may hear it from people in your neighborhood that are getting evicted. You may see people on the side of the road that have been sleeping on the side of the road that have gotten evicted. Or you may even be on these lines and you see a lot of people talking about it all day long. The housing crisis is really getting bad, and there's no place for the human being to lay their head or to be able to afford to be able to come out of the storm. You may have a job and you can't understand why you're working 2 and 3 jobs in America, but yet and still you can't afford to even rent a place to lay your head. I mean, that really sucks. I mean, you got to think about that. When have we ever been this poor as a country in America, to the point where the people cannot go lay their head nowhere? I don't understand this part of it, y'all, but I know this part of it is the dangerous part of it, because this part of it could cause people, like I said, to be putting themselves in danger out that door. And when you're talking about the new generation, the younger people, the millennials, and you're talking about being out this door, the Gen Zs, they don't know nothing about that. They don't know nothing about sleeping outdoors like that. You might think that they built for this because they're younger, because they're younger bodies, they're middle class, and they still do not want to be sleeping outdoors. They still don't want to be out there on nobody's ground. They still want to be where they can look at that thermostat up there on the wall and turn it up and down just like a human being supposed to. Because it's just sad that you see grown men that are working hard, grown men that are in tears on the lines. I've seen them on TikTok. I've seen them on YouTube crying because they can't support their family, because they can't take care of their family, because they're getting priced out of the very country that they have loved so well, and they don't understand it. So therefore, they've depleted all their income trying to stay in a house and try to stay in it just for the landlord to come and tell them at the last minute that they have to go. This housing crisis is getting terrible, y'all. It's really getting terrible. There's no affordable housing for the American people to get into. There's just no affordable housing. And see, knowing that the prices are going up, even right down to, I got a couple girlfriends that are trying to sell their home. They can't even sell their home because the realtors want to lowball them, as from what they tell me. They're getting lowballed for the prices of their houses now because of the fact that, you know, there are so many people that are out there looking for houses or is not buying or not selling. I don't know what the reason why they feel as though that they have to take a lower price for their homes, but they're not selling right now. They're going to hold out until they can get what they need for this house so that they can be able to afford where they're going. Because when you leave one place, you got to make sure that you afford to go to another place so that you have a way to take care of yourself. But if you walk out of that house and you end up selling that house and you can't get into nowhere else, you done messed yourself up. So my whole thing was, I was telling people to stay put. If you can afford to stay in your home that you in right now, and if you can afford the bills in that home and you can afford to stay in that house, it's best that you stay put right now. And so is the taxes are not beating you down, the insurance is not beating you down. It's better you stay put right now because the market sucks out there. The housing crisis is very limited. There's no affordable housing. There's nothing but unaffordable housing. You cannot afford to pay these prices for housing that's out there now. So if you walk away from the house that you're in that you afford because you're looking for luxury, you're looking for cuteness, you're looking for just to be in the inner crowd, and you walk out of that place you is now where you can afford it, you may have just walked yourself right out of the frying pan and jumped right into the fire, because now you're into the midst of the whole millions of people that are out there looking for affordable housing that cannot find a house or cannot find an apartment, can't afford to even buy a home. So I would say, if and so you're in a place where you stay and you're warm, I would say try your best to stay put, especially through these winter months, because you don't know what this winter is going to bring, and you don't know what's going to happen as we go into the the first part of next year. You remember 2026, all this didn't happen for 2025. You don't know how the housing market is going to look like for 2026 coming around that curve. You don't know how many people are going to be out there looking for a place that can't afford it, or looking for a place that have been evicted from the place that they're in. So the housing crisis still continues right here at the 10th month of 2025. The housing market, the housing crisis is still continuing, and I can't see it letting up. I'm sure it's going to continue right on into 2026. So it's better you try to figure out where you're going to go and get there and stay put and just relax wherever you are, wherever it's affordable for you. So as I got to thinking about this situation and got to talking about the housing crisis is something that we have been seeing for quite a while. We see it every day. Like I said, you may know people that are going through this, and the housing crisis is not getting any better. And when you got all these people out here looking for places, you got all these people that are homeless on the side of the road, sleeping in RVs and cars. The homeless population is so large and so huge. I mean, when you're talking about over 3 million, I mean, that's a lot of 300,000 people. Or 3 million people. That's a lot of people that are out there with nowhere to go, with no house to live in, with no place to lay their head. And the sad part about it is, you think about the children. There's going to be a lot of children out of that whole group. Most of them are going to be children. And that's the sad part. So we got to look at the fact that we got to keep a prayer on this situation. But if you're in a house and you can afford to stay there and you're doing okay there, don't jump out of there looking for luxury. Make sure you know where you're going before you leave up out of that place. Because the minute you leave up out of that place, the first thing that could happen is they could say that they're going to renovate that place, or they raise the rent on that place, and you may not be able to get back in it, and you done already messed up your situation. So if you're in a place and your landlord is not bothering you and he's allowing you to stay there for a cheaper rent, I would say it's best for you to be quiet and just sit back and chill and stay put, because right about now, the affordable housing crisis, and you're blessed to have a place over your head. You're blessed to have a lock that you can put your key in and unlock that door anytime you get ready. Come and go as you please, but you're safe. It's best for you to stay put. I'm serious. It's best for you to stay put. When I get on these lines and I begin to speak about things that people have called me and talked to me about. And when I think about how the housing crisis looks right now, and how the unaffordable housing is going up all over the place, but they're unaffordable. You don't have no $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 to pay for no rent, for no apartment. And you do not have the time to be leaving out your comfort zone, to be sleeping in no tent or on the ground or balled up in no car or on the street. So many people are living this life right now, and it's a shame, because I can see that there's going to be a lot more that's going to have to do what they got to do to try to survive. And I just want to let y'all know that I love you. My heart goes out to you. And let's just keep a prayer on those that are already out there, that are seeking shelter, that are trying to find shelter. I pray that God will allow you to find shelter somewhere, that you'll be able to come in out of the storm. So with that being said, I just want y'all to know that I would love for y'all to subscribe to the channel as well, because we do have a lot of people that are watching that are not subscribed, and we are trying to get to 20K over here. So your subscription would help us a lot along the way. That's all we need for you to do is subscribe and watch the whole videos as you go through. And if and so you have not turned your notification bells on, please turn your notification bells on so you'll be notified when I drop my next video. But we're going to have to really stand to y'all together and united and pray for the housing crisis, because the housing crisis continues. Be blessed.